There comes a point in life where the weight you've been carrying no longer feels like a noble burden. It feels like suffocation. You've been holding it all. The dreams, the expectations, the pain, the responsibilities that were never yours to begin with. You've smiled in rooms where your spirit was quietly breaking, showed up strong when you were secretly running on empty, and stayed present for others while abandoning your own needs. This wasn't weakness, it was devotion. But even the strongest souls reach their threshold, and that moment you thought was a collapse, that was actually your liberation. For years you've been operating in survival mode, pouring from a cup that never had time to refill. You've mastered the art of showing up, even when your heart was hemorrhaging. And yet, with all your efforts, it still felt like you were swimming upstream. That wasn't because you failed. That was because you were trying to thrive in an environment meant only to keep you surviving. This exhaustion isn't a sign of defeat. It's a sign you've carried too much for too long. Spirit is showing me the energy of the Two of Pentacles, the one who juggles, multitasks, and balances even when it's tearing them apart. You've been in full manifestation mode. You did the journaling, the vision boards, the prayers, the faith-filled actions. But it felt like trying to bloom in concrete. The universe is saying, "You've done enough. Now let me step in." You weren't created to hustle for what already belongs to your soul. And then came the breaking point. That moment where something shattered. A relationship, a goal, maybe even your own identity. It felt like everything was slipping, like the rug was pulled from beneath your spirit. But that moment wasn't destruction. It was divine intervention. The table was flipped for a reason. That unraveling allowed you to say words your soul had been aching to scream, "I can't keep holding this." And that's when the shift began. See, what looks like collapse is often the start of restoration. You weren't built to carry the weight of the world. You were built to co-create with it. That moment of surrender wasn't weakness. It was strength in its purest form. Because it takes courage to stop performing. It takes faith to let go. It takes power to say, "I deserve to rest." You were taught to confuse productivity with worth, silence with peace, and suffering with strength. But those are illusions. You are now being called into a new paradigm. One where love isn't something to earn, but something to receive. Where stillness isn't laziness, but sacred alignment. Where healing isn't selfish, it's essential. The heartbreak wasn't punishment. It was redirection. The fatigue wasn't failure, it was sacred messaging. Your spirit was never meant to run on fumes. You were born to live from overflow, not depletion. And now, because you've chosen to stop forcing, momentum is returning. Fast. The Eight of Wands shows up, symbolizing divine speed, answered prayers, and long-awaited breakthroughs. It's not that you were doing things wrong. It's that you were trying to bloom in the wrong soil. What's been realigned in your life wasn't taken from you. It was cleared to make room. The divine isn't ignoring you. It's preparing you. You're being placed into alignment with your next level. And that means releasing what was built on survival. There's something sacred about finally seeing yourself clearly. About realizing that love doesn't require sacrifice. That your dreams are not burdens. That your worth isn't up for negotiation. You've always been more than enough. You just lived too long in places that convinced you otherwise. You were trained to overcompensate, to be the fixer, the provider, the one who always says yes even when your soul was screaming no. That version of you was doing the best it could. But now, your soul is choosing truth, choosing self, choosing peace. And that changes everything. Somewhere along your path, you accepted a script written by others, family, culture, society, a blueprint that never fit your spirit. And now you're returning to your original code, the divine code, the one where your uniqueness isn't a flaw, it's your power. In that quiet space, you're beginning to ask questions you were too busy to consider. What is actually mine to carry? Who would I be if I didn't have to perform? These aren't just reflections. they're activations. Your stability is no longer circumstantial, it's spiritual. You are no longer building castles on sand. You are planting foundations in sacred soil. You've given so much love, time, energy, and belief to others. And many of those offerings were never reciprocated. But the harvest isn't lost. Nothing given in love is ever wasted. The universe kept the receipts. Your return is arriving, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. You are not too much. You are not too late. You are not behind. You are arriving right on time. Every twist, every heartbreak, every delay, it was not in vain. It was sacred preparation. You weren't being punished. You were being positioned. You're not here to chase. You're here to attract. You're not here to strive endlessly. You're here to align intentionally. You've stopped betraying yourself for approval, and now you're being rewarded with authenticity, fulfillment, and alignment. What's coming now won't exhaust you, it will sustain you. There's beauty in becoming, in shedding what no longer fits and stepping into your truest form. You're no longer performing, you're embodying. You're no longer surviving, you're thriving. You're no longer begging, you're receiving. And now doors are opening, not because you forced them, but because your frequency called them. This isn't manifestation through struggle. This is creation through surrender. You're co-creating with life from a place of peace. That's the difference. That's the key. You are walking into a season where you no longer have to hustle to be seen, to be chosen, to be loved. Because now, you've chosen yourself. You've claimed your voice. You've owned your story. And the world is about to respond in kind. And now repeat this prayer with me. Dear God, I now release every burden I was never meant to carry, and I call back my energy from every place where I gave too much and received too little. May peace return to my soul. I declare that I no longer have to strive for love or prove my worth. I am already enough as I am. May this truth anchor deeply within me. I surrender the pressure to perform and embrace the power of presence. May I find healing in stillness and clarity in rest. Let the pain of my past be alchemized into wisdom. May every heartbreak transform into a sacred doorway that leads me back to myself. I ask for divine alignment in every area of my life. May I walk in the energy of truth, wholeness, and authenticity. I bless the version of me that overextended, that said yes out of fear. I honor that version, and I lovingly let it go. I now choose relationships that nourish, spaces that uplift, and a path that honors my spirit. May what is meant for me never pass me by. I thank the unseen forces that protected me even in my lowest moments. May gratitude guide every step forward. I step into a new frequency, one of clarity, abundance, and divine timing. May everything that matches this energy now find its way to me. May my journey serve as a light to others still finding their way. Let my healing be a ripple of hope for every soul who needs it. Amen.